Hi, hello, this is Sandy again in Talk of Thailand. Today is the 29th of December and I'm in Pattaya in Thailand, and it's looking like a very, very sad time here. Maybe a very significant time for all those that live here and for all those Farangs and people like myself who also a resident here in Pattaya. You know, since the beginning of the year, the world has been fighting this global pandemic of COVID-19. And apart from the initial 3 or 4 months here in Thailand, when we did lockdown and we managed to clear Thailand of the virus, we've lived in very relative comfort as we watched the rest of the world struggling with the outcomes from this horrible, horrible virus. That's all been very good, and it led to when we had the lockdown lifted, some bars and restaurants reopened, some hotels reopened, hoping that in due course things would get much better here in Thailand. But, you know, it reminds me of when they were talking about how the dark clouds were rolling over Europe at the beginning of the Second World War. I feel now that the dark clouds are rolling over Thailand, and in particularly dark clouds are rolling over cities like Pattaya, maybe Phuket, Hua Hin, Cha Am, Chiang Mai, all these places that have enjoyed large tourist visitations over the many, many years that people have come to Thailand. And I now think that it's possibly in danger, very, very big style. About 2 weeks ago, we had an outbreak of COVID internally. Now, we have had 1 or 2 cases before, people sneaking over the border from Myanmar or Burma as we know it into the northern part of Thailand, Chiang Mai, sneaking over the border and having the dreaded virus. And from Chiang Mai, some of them ventured out down to Phuket and to Bangkok and 1 or 2 other places, and did eventually get caught and proved to have this COVID. But they isolated them very quickly and done some track and trace, and the Thai authorities have dealt with it very well. About 2 weeks ago, we had another outbreak, and that was in a fish market just outside, a fish and seafood market just outside Bangkok, Samut Sakhon, and the outbreak there was severe, and it was discovered that it was linked to the amount of illegal workers that had been brought in to assist in the seafood market from Burma. Now then, how that happened, we don't know, and I expect in the course of time there will be an investigation into how these people managed to get there. But it's significant also that the head of the police in that area has been moved to a non-active position, rightly so, I believe. But the problem is, it started, and it was a significant outbreak, and now we're talking about some hundreds of people in Thailand with COVID. Already the hospitals are getting busier. Here in Pattaya, it was announced this morning that every hospital in the city has COVID patients. Now then, yesterday we also seen the first death in Thailand from COVID since the beginning of the year, when it was initially here. And in the provinces with the highest cases of COVID, they have now started taking severe restrictions. The province right next to us here in Pattaya and in Chonburi is Rayong, and they are very highly closed down bars, restaurants, everything. Bangkok's closing down. Samut Prakan has been locked down. Several areas with high number of cases have been locked down. Now then, Pattaya, home to us all. They've already cancelled the countdown for Thursday night for New Year, understandably, and I think we're all pleased about that, because to bring thousands of people here from all over Thailand to witness the celebrations, which they normally do, would have been tragic, catastrophic. So they've cancelled the countdown. And yesterday they also announced that bars, nightclubs, etc. had to increase the security and limit functions within the bars, no dancing, blah, blah, blah. And the biggest thing of all was that they were to close at midnight. So there's already been a few comments about them closing at midnight, and a few worries by bar owners what's going to come, and there is going to be more severe consequences, that's for sure. Now, I have heard a rumour, and it's only a rumour, but it's a rumour from a very reliable source, that on Thursday, this coming Thursday, which is New Year's Eve, there will be a total lockdown, which will close all the bars, stop shops selling alcohol, and restrict all movement. That here is catastrophic, because the people here in Thailand are not supported by some of the good social support that they get in other countries. Many people will be starving, many people will be out of their accommodation. It's a human tragedy that we're looking at here, and something that I believe Thailand will never, ever, ever in our lifetimes recover from. Indeed, I believe that the tourist philosophy and the looking at the future, they are changing the way they believe that Thailand will operate. And this will have a big significant effect here in Pattaya, and it will be detrimental to many people who are trying to hang on to what they've got in the hope that it's going to get better, because it is obvious to even a blind man that things here are not going to get better for a long, long time. And by then, most of the businesses that have been trying to hang in, I believe, will be gone. Now today, I got a visit down to my dentist this afternoon, who's going to review the dentures I had fitted, and he's got some adjustments to make to them. And then I will make another video to update those that were interested in my initial videos on the dentistry I've had done. But then after that, myself, my wife, my daughter, we're going to take time out to go along Pattaya Beach Road and have a look at what's the feeling and the look of the place on this, which may be one of the last opportunities this year to go down there and visit the Pattaya city centre. So stick with me and let's go and have a look. So here we are at Soi 6, and there's a lot of activity around the bars with the girls sitting there, but as you can see, there's no customers walking up and down. Normally, in normal times, as you remember, this used to be a very busy Soi. In the afternoon, customers walking down and interacting with the girls. Now, I would say, except for the girls, it's dead. So, Beach Road, right across from Soi 6 here. There's a fair bit of traffic going up and down the road, I must admit, but you can see, yeah, very, very quiet. Huh? Well, this is where my wife takes a few moments to pray for the avoidance actually of what is likely to be happening in the very near future here in Pattaya. It's coming. Big shrine opposite Soi 6. And an almost deserted beach. Someone telling fortunes on the beach. I wonder if you can really tell what's ahead for Pattaya. Walk along the beach. We still have the deck chair vendors dotted up and down the beach, and the hawkers making their way between each of the sites, looking to see if anyone has any customers, which at the moment they don't seem to have. And what future have these people got when the lockdown comes? The city has never recovered from the last lockdown. We still have many thousands out of work, no accommodation, starving. Schools have already started closing. Children are suffering. No food. All looking for food handouts. Where is it going to go? Another lockdown is only going to make the situation much, much worse. And that's going to come very, very soon. People here on the beach already begging as you pass. So sad. After the last lockdown, we've seen many bars opening, along with restaurants, massage parlours, etc., hoping that their fortunes were going to reverse and customers would come back. That hasn't happened. A lot of the bars and restaurants and other businesses that reopened have again shut down because there was no custom to be had here during the world pandemic. A few hopefuls, particularly Farangs, have been hanging on and convincing themselves that there will be an end to this and that they will just about manage to hang on until the tourism comes back. But it's got worse, and the world pandemic is at an all-time high, and Thailand is going to lock down. I am 100% confident. All of these prepared for and these people have been hanging on grimly. I feel so sorry 2021 because their future is black. Out in the bay we still have the large barges that would be used for the fireworks to let them off. They are still there, the barges, but now they will not be used. Here is the bottom of
Pattaya Klang. You head straight up there, you come to Sukhumvit. This is the middle of the road of the beach, and on the right up there used to be a group of about 8 bars, several facing out into this way and several facing out into the small soy at the side, just past the KTB bank. Since COVID they have all been demolished, completely, in 2 days, completely flattened and everything taken away. It's now being fenced off and they're building something there. Maybe a condo or maybe a hotel. There's a couple of hotels going up. You can see the cranes up here. That's in that small soy too. So there's still a lot of incentive apparently for building hotels here in Pattaya, even though we have a glut of them that are currently unoccupied. The corner bar at the bottom of Soy 7 used to always be a popular spot in the afternoons. Very busy bar before, very popular. One of the things I didn't like about this bar actually is that at night they put on some good entertainment and they put the prices of the beer up to cover the cost of the entertainment. But they used to put the price of beer up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but the music didn't start till 8 o'clock. So a lot of customers used to leave then and move on to the bars roundabout which were less expensive to drink. Basically the price of a beer went up from about 60 bahts to 80 bahts, only 20 bahts, but significant. Poppy bar, bottom of Soy 8. Lucky Star bar next door. There's a few people are in, a few people around. Possibly people trying to get a couple of drinks on the beach while they can before, and if they shut down, then of course all this will be shut down as well. As I walk along the beach on this lovely sunny December afternoon, I really do wonder what is ahead for Pattaya. In the future, yes, the COVID will pass, but what will happen to Pattaya? I don't believe it will ever go back to what it was. I think those days are history and it's long gone. Both national and local government have different plans for Thailand. They want to get away from some of the bad reputations that they had in the past. In fact, for a long time now I believe Pattaya has been groomed to be a really first-class family holiday resort that maintained a few small roads, bar areas where the old habits were maintained. Mainly places like Soy 6 with all the girly bars down there. And I believe after the COVID is over and they start getting their act together, maybe Soy 6 days will be numbered. I think maybe Walking Street, I'm fairly sure Walking Street will be reinstated, done up, and be a historic place from the past. and maybe just to keep a lot of the local expats and keep another element of the attraction to Pattaya still going. Maybe Soy Bacau, I think, will remain more or less as it is, which is a very popular nightlife centre for the people who live here, and when people come visiting they also find Soy Bacau very popular. So I think that will stay. But it's going to become a much more high-end family resort, I believe, and that may be good for Pattaya afterwards. Paddy Centre. If you were into diving, this was one of the places to come. They would get you your licenses and everything, teach you up, and was always a very popular place to come. Now next door we have the Natural Beach Hotel. As you can see, 599 bahts for a night. Well, before COVID came here, that was 1100 bahts a night. And it's a hotel I stayed in many times when I came here on a holiday before I retired. And I used to enjoy staying here because it was very handy for the beach, and behind the front entrance here, behind the first building, there's a nice swimming pool, and then they've got a big block of rooms at the back as well. It used to be good value. When I used to stay here, it used to be about 800 bahts some years ago. But now 599 bahts, that represents excellent value, it really does. As you will see, there are not many expats, Parangs, walking around the beach area today. We passed very few have passed us, and the people that we're seeing along here are mainly Thai people and Thai children, which is indicative of the way we are at the moment. I think many people in Pattaya are aware of what is happening and probably a little bit concerned about what's going to happen to them, and staying away from the centres. It is worrying that even during the last lockdown, Pattaya remained relatively untouched, but now we seem to be heading rocket swift into the top of the league. Very worrying. During the last lockdown, actually the majority of the initial work to get food out to people and to finance that was done by the expat community here in Pattaya, which worked very well together, and with the help of the local radio station Fab FM 103, they actually generated a lot of food and fed a lot of people during that time. Eventually the government did step in with some compensations and supporting the population, but the expat community were excellent in their assistance in helping the Thais out then. Now the Tahiti Queen. The Tahiti Queen. One of the original go-go bars. In fact, I think it is the original go-go bar. There was this one, and then there was the Nevada in Soy Post Office here, I remember in the 90s. But the Tahiti Queen is the most famous one of all. Well, I think we're heading down here to go over to Hooters over there. My wife's never been there. We'll go over there and have a beer or two and something to eat, and take in the last of the remaining sunshine, I think. So, sounds a good plan. Well, the Tahiti Queen is still open and going. Well done. That's an encouraging sight. How long that'll be open, I don't know, but it's nice to see that it's still going. In the 90s, it was only allowed that guys could go in there. There was no girls could go in there. I don't know if it's still the same these days, and I haven't been there in many, many years. But they used to have various states of undress, from pants and bras right down to brief moments when they had zero. But always a popular place for guys to go and see some of the prettiest girls in Pattaya stripped down. Well, that's it. We've arrived here in Hooters, and we're going to sit and have a couple of drinks and get something nice to eat. It's a very pleasant outlook here at Hooters, sitting out overlooking the beach, enjoying some sundowners. We don't know when this is going to kick in, but it's not far away. It isn't far away. So I'll raise my glass to just now. I don't think there'll be many more days we can come down here and do this again. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and it's maybe been a little bit long, but it's worth it because it's a serious situation. If you have enjoyed it, please give it a like, and you can subscribe if you want, and ring that bell, whatever they're doing. There's also a possibility below to be able to donate to the channel to help us produce videos in the future. But thank you for watching, and I hope you stay safe. Finally, and in conclusion, this lovely sunset, watching the sun going down, slipping down into the sea, and Pattaya getting darker. Tomorrow the sun will come up again, but Pattaya may still be in a very dark place, and is going to need help from a lot of people to get it through what's ahead, I believe. So with that thought in mind, I will say good night.